what's going on, guys? Welcome back to AriesEDC from the shop. So, knife builds update. I am working on the Damascus builds for April. We have the Crow, we have the Spike, and just recently I did a live stream, and on that live stream I did the Cardinal XL, where I ground all the bevels in to all of these. And yes, although you don't see the pattern, this is Damascus. The patterning is now been kind of disappeared because I ground it all out, but it is there and you can actually see it, which leaves me two other ones that I'm working on right now. And I'm getting ready to set up the grinder because I want to start working on the Cardinal and the Creep. So these are the last two that I need to grind the bevels into before I move on to hand sanding all of this out. So once I get to that, then I need to hand sand all those grind lines out, because Damascus, to acid etch to get the pattern back into that, you can see the pattern in the handle still, that raindrop pattern. You have to get that pretty much to almost a mirror finish to get a nice nice acid etch. And I just poked myself in the hand with that tip. Is a little sharp, but these are going to get hand sanded smooth to probably 400 grit, and then I'm going to heat treat. Then after heat treat, we're going to clean these guys up and get them prepped for the acid etching. And I still haven't really made up my mind what I'm doing with all the handle materials yet. But again, these are all April builds, so I haven't really even sat down and figured out anything. I'm just kind of trying to get ahead while the March builds are off at heat treat. So it's time to get to work. I'm going to throw this one on the grinder, and hopefully this one as well, the Creep as well. This is Friday, so I also have my live stream. So I'm going to get as much work done as possible before the live stream, and it'll just be a lot of hand sanding during the live stream. But it's time to get to work. All right, so the Cardinal looking good. I don't know why I'm doing it this way, but whatever. The Cardinal looking good. Got that one ground in nicely, fairly even. Everything looks pretty darn good. Got it to a good thinness at the edge, so that's not terrible. Pre-heat treat, remember. So I'm gonna have to hand sand all this out, heat treat, and then hand sand it all out again. It's gonna thin out that material really well. Plus, with polishing this to almost a nothing is interesting. Now, remember, this one and the other Cardinal both had an inclusion on the steel. This one ground out perfectly. You can't even tell where the inclusion was. This one, on the other hand, I did kind of chase it a little bit, and you can kind of see right in here that it's still kind of showing. It's not like it's opening up or anything, and I'm going to be able to, I think it's going to take a lot of work, but I think I'm going to be able to hand sand that out really well. I still have some material to remove, so I'm not terribly worried about it. It's not like it's compromised the steel or it's going to be anything detrimental. It's number one, really far away from the edge. And number two, I'll probably be able to hand sand that out. It's just that little bit. So I'm gonna hand sand that out. I also, well, I have to do the creep first. Got to do the creep. I got to grind that off. It is 8 o'clock right now. I know it's upside down, but 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I have about 30 minutes before the live stream starts. So I'm going to set up for that. And I'm going to start working on this and see how far I can get before the live stream starts. If not, then I'll finish this up on the live stream. I got to do sharpening choils for all of these and a little bit of Dremel work on the edges and stuff before heat treat. And then we're going to hand sand them all out. So it looks like the live stream will be all hand sanding. But that's what you sign up for. So I better get to work. All right, guys, successful live stream. I got just so you guys know, the creep, I evened everything out on the creep and got the bevels done on the creep. And let's see, on all of them, I did the sharpening choils on all of them. And you can see on the crow, I got it completely hand sanded and looking pretty good. Pretty happy with it. I wish I could get the pattern to show up on camera, but that Damascus pattern does not, it's not easy to show until I get it polished. The more high polish I get it, the better. But so this one is now ready for heat treat. And so I still have all the other ones to do. I am currently at the block here hand sanding the spike out. So I'm gonna continue working on this one. And then I have these guys all working on two. So we have the Cardinal XL, and the Creep that also need to get done. I still have the laptop here from the live stream. So got work to do and trying to get them all done. I'm hoping by the end of this video, I'll at least have these heat treated. Then I can work on the next steps, which I better start figuring out handles real quick for these guys because I'm running out of time. All right, guys, to not bore you too much, I cut out a lot of that hand sanding. So after several hours of hand sanding, they are all done. I really need to figure out how not to hit this camera. I'm punch drunk right now. Anyway, all right, so the crow, the spike, you guys saw. I got the Cardinal hand sanded out, so looking good. Or the Cardinal XL, the Cardinal now is good, and even the Creep. I forgot, you know, the work on a skeletonized blade that goes into it pre and post heat treat, but then I don't have to do handles. So on the front end, there's a lot more work to do than on the back end because you got to round everything off and clean it all up. And then after heat treat, I got to go back and clean all that up again. But it'll be worth it because it'll be pretty cool pattern on that entire little neck knife blade that is the Creep. So these are all looking good, nice and thin on the edge. So these 5 are ready for heat treat. I can't believe I'm talking heat treat already. So I don't know if I'm gonna do this today or maybe tomorrow, but I'm gonna get these guys prepped and ready for heat treat. Maybe set up the forge and film the heat treat process. And man, I can't believe we're making this great progress. I also need to talk about handles. I know what I'm doing for the spike. So the spike handles are thought. I have the handle material here. The creep, obviously, we don't do handles for that one. So I need to come up with a plan for these three. I think I know what I want to do for the crow. So then it leaves these two. So I need to figure that out. But they got to get heat treated and everything else first. We're a long ways away from doing handles, but maybe I can get them looking pretty good with the handles and stuff before the other blades come back from heat treat. I don't foresee myself getting them back for at least another week, so I have plenty of time to work on these. So let me figure out this forge situation. Quenched and heat treated. Not terribly, fairly successful. I have a couple issues that I'm gonna have to deal with after I temper, but I need to go temper them. I always temper 350 for 2 hours for 2 cycles. So these are gonna have to get thrown into the temper. Everything came out fairly well as far as the creep, the Cardinal, and the Cardinal XL all seem to be fine. You can see the Damascus pattern now, and it's gonna look pretty stinking cool. So I have my little tray. Also, I heat treated that package hatchet, the big old one that's like, you got a bottle opener, you got the pry, and you gotta have the cutting edge. So I'm gonna finish that one up as well because I don't have enough to do. Cardinal looks pretty good. I'm gonna need to just kind of wipe everything down and get everything nice and clean. Let me wipe that down. Still has some of the oil on it. And so I've got to clean these up a little bit, wipe them down, and then they're going into the temper. And when, let's see, the creep, no issues. Looks nice and small, easy. Here's where we run into some issues. The crow, I kind of had a feeling I was going to run into this, but you know, it is what it is. But we got a little bit of just a slight warping, and I'm hoping after the temper it might straighten it out a little bit. That is the hope. And then once it's done in the temper, then I'm going to have to try to straighten that out just a little bit. It's not terrible, but it just has a slight little in it. But with a longer blade like this, you're probably going to have that, especially quenching the way that I quench. It's just part of it. Here's where we run into some major issues. I guess I got the tip a little bit too thin on the spike because bink, it's gone. I'm not sure what happened. It just kind of disappeared, and I may have banged it and tried to bend it back, but I'm just going to end up having to reprofile this just a little bit after the temper, and just be careful not to ruin the heat treat on the tip of this, which is fine. It's just gonna be a little bit shorter of a blade. So I'm gonna have to let that person know that they're gonna get a little bit shorter of a blade, but it's still gonna be beautiful. You can see the Damascus in it, and it's gonna be pretty stinking cool. So, you know, it happens, and I'm not happy about it. This one also kind of warped a little bit, so I'm gonna have to straighten the handle, which is fine. It's in the handle, not the blade itself. So off to temper with these guys, and I will catch you on the next one. So thank you guys so much. Looking forward to getting the Damascus builds for April finished up. I have some cool plans for handles that I just purchased some material for, so it's gonna be pretty stinking cool. So thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing and doing all the things that you do. So please subscribe, like, leave a comment, or not. Again, the choice is always yours.